here is the question again. Choose from the following: A. Seinfeld, B. Frasier,
What was the question?
C. Cheers, or D. King of Queens.
Alexa, repeat the question.
Okay, here is the question again.
Thank God.
You can choose from A. Seinfeld, B. Frasier.
At that point, you're starting to think, I tell you what, man, I think I can get the partnership. And right there is when it all the numbers and stuff start getting to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Officer Leathercock, a fine, outstanding gentleman of the law. I am here to teach Pilot Loop Prevention 101. Order 6971 will be fulfilled.
This is the
Whoa.
the Officer Leathercock was on top. There's the police
Oh my
cab.
God.
Now let's have a little talk, ladies and gentlemen. Do you, as a survivor, understand what the main objective is of Dead by Daylight?
Leaving full-time union employment, constant 40 hours, paycheck every Friday, insurance and all that, to go from that to the uncertainty of the streaming world was weird. It was definitely, it was do or die.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Streams, a place where we discuss what's happening behind the channel and getting to know the success stories, the struggles, the efforts, and everything that is happening off the camera. Today we have Vinc3ntvega with us, a comedy streamer, a Twitch partner, and one of the most unique Dead by Daylight players. So thank you so much for being here and having this discussion with us.
Yo, what up?
Yay!
It's a pleasure being here.
Pleasure to have you. So you've been in the content creation industry for about 7 years, right?
Yeah, this will be working on the 7th year, November 2014. Yep.
Alrighty. And you didn't start with Dead by Daylight, obviously, because 7 years back there wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, it might have been like in the planning phase back in those days,
Yeah.
I started on Twitch with Minecraft.
Oh
I
my
know,
God.
37-year-old bearded redneck playing Minecraft, man. I had just gotten into it also because I think it had just came out on PlayStation 4, and that's the only gaming platform I had. I didn't even own a computer at that time, so that's kind of like how I got into it all.
Alrighty. So what made you take the step and started streaming from the first place?
Let's see. I didn't even know Twitch existed until my 37th birthday. My mom, my sister, my dad all got together and bought me an iPad. And then like a week after I had the iPad, I started going through the store and just like looking through random maps to download for it. And I see this thing called Twitch. I'm like, this is like for video gamers. I'm like, what's this about? Because I've always been into gaming my entire life. So I downloaded and I start watching it, and I was like, this is the weirdest shit ever. Like, why is anyone watching someone else play a video game? It was such, I don't know, I was so foreign to the concept of it. Because even back then, like, it was over 7 years ago. Twitch was what? It had only been Twitch for maybe a year at that point or something like that. And Justin TV.
It was
so
Justin,
it's still kind of early. So I started watching and I'm like, this is pretty cool. And then I got into it, and I started watching Minecraft streams, and then I started playing Minecraft. And then I don't know, about 8 months after that, I started thinking, I was like, you know what? I'm bored and lonely anyway. I'm playing games at night by myself. I was like, I think I can do this. And, I found out you could stream directly from the PlayStation. And a couple weeks after that, boom, there we are, hitting 6.5 years later.
Oh my God. And how was that, this first time that you've ever been streaming? How was this time?
Oh, dude, the first time was nerve-wracking. I didn't even have a camera. It was all from my PlayStation. I was sitting in a brown Lazy Boy recliner. It was comfortable, man. We had comfortable gaming back then, It was comfortable now, but boy, Lazy Boy recliner and no cam stream. It was great, but I remember how nerve-wracking it was because you would just sit, you're by yourself. Like, I didn't have friends, family. I didn't tell anybody I was streaming. So literally I had 0 people in there besides me. And I don't even know if I had Nightbot in there. I might've had Nightbot in there. But I remember even on the first day, like I would just I knew one thing I had to do was always talk, right? So as I did my Minecraft thing, I just talked through exactly what I was going to do and just like kind of like narrate the story of what I was doing inside the game, you know? And then a few people came in and out because back in those days, if you streamed from the PlayStation, people that were on PC could see you, but people on PlayStation could only see PlayStation streams. So a lot of my traffic was, you know, 10-year-olds on their PlayStation, basically. Oh my God. But that's how it all started. It was very nerve-wracking to start and just talk to yourself was like the hardest part, you know, just to keep things going. But I you know, I remember the very first follower and the first guy who came in there was like some kid, cool kid 14 was my first follower. And he would come back all the time until I kind of like moved away from Minecraft and I didn't see him much anymore, but yeah, the good old days. Things are so much easier.
Yeah, they were. So watching your very first video on YouTube, because I found this, I watched it.
Oh my Lord.
Yes, and there are tons of things that have changed over the years. So how do you feel watching yourself for the very first time? And with that, let me show you the video.
Welcome everybody to the Vegaville. This is my first YouTube video of my world I've created in Minecraft PlayStation 4 edition called Vegaville.
Like first and foremost, the audio is terrible. It's like that is all like welcome to the Vegaville. And you know how it is when you like listening to yourself talk. Everyone hates their own voice.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I can hear myself breathing. 30 FPS. Dude, it's really cool seeing it because like this is the entire world I built while streaming on my PlayStation. And all these little houses that you see when we first start out is I would invite people to come into my world and they would get that little plot and they could build whatever they want in their little house. And it's kind of like, it was like a little like a not a giveaway, but kind of like a, you know, appreciation, come in my world. And, you know, we used to do that on Friday nights, I think.
So a lot of things have changed, but what do you see that is definitely changed a lot? Because I see one thing.
Well, I know my like I see my audio, the video quality. There's no camera.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you see that I don't see?
I saw, well, I didn't see, but I hear a very different person than the one that you're streaming right now. You're more loud, you're more, you know, funny, I would say, and bold, if I might say.
Yeah, well, what I learned early on too, especially if I'm playing a game and like recording, but I'm not live, it's completely different. I don't know why, but the energy level is usually much less. Because it's not like you're not getting real live time people reacting to what you're doing. It's really strange recording for YouTube if you're a Twitch streamer, in my opinion, because it definitely comes off as like I'm a whole nother person. Yeah, well, you know, I'm not trying to like entertain anybody right now. This is just like a world tour of the world. Me and this my little helper, his name was like Turbo Bunny. Because I actually streamed with somebody else. Like, I mean, it was my channel, and he never talked, and he role played as a bunny, right? His little outfit was a bunny, and he would like throw carrots in the air and jump around like a bunny. It was, dude, it was strange. It was strange, man, but it was fun.
How it was, like. Going from Minecraft to Dead by Daylight, how was this transformation?
What I can tell you is, like, if you want the history of how it worked for me is, so if I started on November 1st, 2014, streaming only from the PlayStation, right? So within about a month, I had maybe like 20, 25 concurrents, something like that. And then by Christmas, it was well over 100. And I started hitting 200. And And that's the time when I was like, you know what? I knew like the big boy stuff would be streaming from a PC and building one and, you know, changing over to Minecraft on PC. But the problem was, if you leave the PlayStation Network and go to the PC, like all those people that used to watch you on the PlayStation Network can't see you anymore. So my concurrence went from like 1 to 200 to like 20 and 30 overnight when I made the switch. So it's kind of like starting all over again, right? Yeah. So I did that, and then I just got to a point where I really got tired of Minecraft after like 14 or 15 months. And I really started thinking to myself, do I really want to build a Minecraft channel? And at the end of the day, I was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't. You know, it kind of went its course. I got bored with it. Plus, I couldn't really see any positive results. You know, I just kept like I was just barely floating in the streaming world, you know. And then I stopped playing it, and I started doing like American Truck Simulator, any kind of simulator out there, driving sims. Did that for about a month. Those are super fun. I still do them every once in a while. And then I did something called The Binding of Isaac, if you ever heard of that game. It's an incredible indie game. I love. It's kind of like old school.
The Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that game. I used to eat streak that game. So I did that for about 4 or 5 months. It's a really small directory. I got nowhere there. And then there was another stream team there, which we all made a stream team together later on with like Grizzly Guy and Lars Fest and those guys. But all those guys streamed almost at the same exact time I did. So I was like, and they were bigger than me. I was like, I'm going to get nowhere. If I had to, this is the competition. The directory is so small. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then one day I was watching Soda Poppin' on Twitch on a weekend, and DVD beta was out that weekend. It was a Friday night, and like I started going down the list of streamers. My buddy was streaming it. I was like, hey man, you have a beta code? He's like, yeah man, I'll get you one. And Sunday before I went streaming like Isaac, I just played the game for 2 hours. And I was instantly hooked. Within 2 hours, boom, I was on it. And then, you know, I never looked back. And then I switched directly to that. And basically, the people who were watching me play Minecraft all were the people watching me play Isaac. They all started watching me play DVD. You know what I mean? It was that core audience that I already had. Now, I never really lost a ton of numbers. Like I lost certainly when I left Minecraft, but after the Minecraft, those core people, and they're still watching me today. And then whatever I do and stuff. So, you know, it was it wasn't hard to change because I knew like Isaac wasn't the future anyway, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And then once I started playing DVD, I was like, this is the future. This is where I want to be at.
Right. You fell in love with Dead by Daylight from the first place.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I had never played anything like it. The funny part was I had gone to PAX East the year they debuted, because that would have been like March or April of 2014. And he had a really tiny booth. I barely remember the booth. I never stopped and played the game. I might have looked at it, but that was it. I never knew anything about it until boom, it was on Twitch that weekend. And it was like beta weekend from Friday to Monday. Tuesday, the game released.
Oh my God.
That's how fast it all went.
You were there from the very first time. That's awesome. And you're not just an amazing Dead by Daylight player. I got to tell you that. You actually create some content very, very unique about Dead by Daylight. So do you want to tell us about Palette Peggy and Slagging Sally and Vega Ross? And
would you like to see my box of wigs?
Yes. Oh my God.
It is ridiculous. It's a mess. This is the box of wigs. Oh, here we go. This is the entire box. The officer Leathercock was on top. There's the police van.
You, my friend, are just a casualty of random acts of violence. I'm sorry, David. Not sorry, you motherfucker. Don't ever come into my world and disrespect me again.
And there's Vega Ross.
Oh, Blood Lodge. Oh, this is, not my favorite map. There's a lot of palette looping and things like that nature going on in this map, but it's okay. It's okay. We can deal with it.
But this is like, I don't know, 12, 14, there's so many wigs in here.
Whoa.
That I just keep them. I bought all these styrofoam heads to kind of put on a shelf one day to stick all the wigs on there. That way, I keep them all nice. I never got around to that. They're just still in the box, and then whenever I need them, I just go right there and grab them. But well, let's see. I knew from the get-go. You know, I'm not your typical demographic streamer, right? You're like young, you know, either really, really good at the game or just, you know, not in the demographics of Twitch at all, you know, teenagers to early 20s or whatever. I knew I was old. I was really rough around the edges, lewd as hell. And, but I knew like my thing was comedy, and I'm really good at like creating things. And it all just started with the Bob Ross one. I remember one day I just like was looping for 2 minutes, and I started doing the Bob Ross bit, and people were like going nuts. Right. So then I bought the wig and made the whole bit when I did a Trapper, and it kind of like snowballed from there. And like all my little bits were like, I got a Scaredette where I just act scared. I dress up like the character Claudette in Dead by Daylight. So, you know, I've been on my second one, and Palette Peggy, you know, all my bits usually for DBD or whatever kind of like toxic in the game or just weird gameplay. I kind of like base them off of that to kind of poke fun at it. You know, and just to show people how toxic it can really be, and what I usually do to make I make it fun toxic. You know, I'm not trying to be toxic, but I'm poking fun at you could do this if you really wanted to. You know? Yeah,
of course.
Like, yeah, that's kind of like how it all came together, and that had a lot to do, I think, with me, like, and the success I've had in Dead by Daylight in particular. But yeah, I got oh man, over the year, I think there's like maybe 18 or 20 different things I've done. Some have already been retired. The recent DCMA hits, kind of Palette Peggy I don't do anymore. Indiana J, because he used like the Indiana Jones theme song. So I'm still working on trying to find music to put to it, but it will never be the same, but it'll still be there, you know?
Yeah, totally agree. Although Officer Leathercock is like my favorite one, I gotta tell you.
He's kind of based off of, if you know the movie Full Metal Jacket and the drill sergeant from that dude, it's kind of like where it all came from.
Exactly.
I was just riding down the road one day. I'm like, man, how can I punish people for like pallet looping? And I was like, man, I think officer I'll do a police officer, and what can we name them? It's going to be like Leatherface is the perfect killer, because once you get some out on the hook, that's it. They're not going anywhere. Like, you can ensure they're going to die, no matter what. So I was like, and then I don't know, just one day I just said Officer Leathercock, and there it was. Leathercock was born.
That was my number one, because you rage just like I do, and when you play this with my nickname on, I couldn't stop myself crying out loud. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think that is probably what people like the most. They kind of changed the way Leatherface works now a few months ago, so that it's not as good as it used to be, I don't think, but you know, I still work with it now. I just, instead of like revving the chainsaw nonstop, I just beat them with my hammer until they're dead. So, you know, one way or the other, I get the you know, I get the point across.
Exactly. So do you think that having a main game for your stream is the key to growth and success over the years?
Yes. Like, if you want to say it's the easy way, it's definitely the easiest way to stick with one game. But the other issue is like that's what I'm running into right now. Is I've been playing Dead by Daylight for, you know, June this year will be 5 years that the game's been around. So I've been playing for 5 years. I only play it 4 days. So technically I play it 66% of my stream time, which is 4 out of 6 days. The other 2 days lately I've been playing Apex Legends. But, you know, if you build your stream on one game, especially for that amount of time, it doesn't matter what you play, unless it's in the same genre. Like if you do like, especially in DBD is a very special kind of like category where it's the horror genre. If you stay within the horror genre, you seem to do okay and kind of keep your numbers up. If not, you can pretty much keep them up if you switch across horror games. You try anything else, I mean, you're looking at probably a half to third of your audience is normal. So you kind of, you know, eventually after, like me, like now I'm like 5 years into it, and I still enjoy playing DBD. It's still fun. Do I want to be known as a Dead by Daylight streamer? No.
No.
No. So like now I'm trying to like work my way into other games and try to, you know, I want to get it to a 50-50 for now, and then later on, my main plan would be play Dead by Daylight Saturday, Sunday, and then the rest of the week try other games or be variety basically. But a lot of that depends on financial, you know, because if you build it, and I went full time, you know, 2 years ago in Dead by Daylight, so you're kind of like cornered.
Yeah. I can totally get it. But have you ever thought about becoming a variety streamer? And because I know that you play a lot of games and you love a lot of games, but have you ever considered about like changing the game every time that you stream and stuff?
Oh yeah. But like historically, for me personally, I haven't played a lot of different games. I usually stick with one game and play the hell out of it. And it's kind of what I did with my streaming so far. And like the only, like I look at a guy named Lethal Frag, if you know who that is on Twitch. He's like an OG, but he has a rotation of like maybe 5 to 6 games that he'll jump on for a couple days and jump on this game, and new release comes out beyond that. But his normal thing has been like 5 to 6 games, and his numbers are always the same. And, you know, it's always like very normal for him to do, I guess you could call it. But that's what I like to do. I find like a good rotation of, you know, even 3 to 4 or 5 different games that I could swap through within like a 3 weeks or a month period of time, you know, in between like new releases coming out and trying them out. Because like to me, variety would never be playing single player games, because I really don't like single player games. Like I'm not story driven or lore driven, or most single player games are like that, you know. I like the PvP aspect of games. Like Apex Legends is a game that I'm starting to work on, like getting out of DVD from, and getting the Apex Legends going, because I've noticed I started playing that in November, and here we are in February, and my numbers are doing really well now when I stream that game, which I do twice a week basically. But I've noticed more and more people, the more that I've played it and showed people like I'm having a good time and it's a really good game, the more and more people in my community have started picking it up and playing it. It's been, and in the last month, man, a ton of people have started playing. It's pretty crazy. But it's kind of like how I want to grow from now on. Like I don't even really want to grow bigger in Dead by Daylight, if that makes any sense, because most of those viewers don't translate over to other games.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But blending into a community of a specific game has its own pros and cons, right?
Oh yeah.
So what would you say about the Dead by Daylight community so far? I mean, it's a community that you've been in a while, and I know that they might support each other and sometimes they might not. So what do you got to say about it?
Do you mean like viewers or like other streamers?
No, I mean other streamers.
Oh, well, you know, I've had like really no problems with other streamers. Like, I mean, I pretty much know everyone that streams in the directory. There's a lot of newer faces now. A lot of the YouTubers are starting to come over now. I really don't know them, but like the old school people that have been around for a long time, I mean, I pretty much met them all at the cons. We're all pretty much really like good friends, like talk outside of stream quite a bit. But I think the community is great. Like, you know, like the camaraderie between the DVD streamers seem to be really, really well. Like I haven't had any issues with, you know, any streamer really.
Yeah. So you think it's helpful to blend into a community when you're sticking to one game? Do you think that helps?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the number. Like I remember I was watching a streamer and they were talking about networking, and he really hit the point where, especially if you're in one game, like DBD is a really crazy game, because no matter what, you have 4 people, you can always see their names, right? And then you have the other person as the killer. So there have been streamers that had literally played the game for a year or 2 before even streaming, and they were well known throughout all communities And then by the time they started streaming, I mean, they could have gotten partner in like 3 to 6 months, because they, like, the day they went live, they already had a community because so many people knew him. And like, basically his concept is like, when you network, you're not really networking with other streamers, you're networking within their community, right? Like, you don't want to be the asshole that goes in like, hey guys, I stream Dead by Daylight too, and blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
But it's important to not only talk to the streamer, but to talk to all the community members that are talking to you via the chat, and spend time that way. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a huge time sink. It's all a huge time sink.
Yeah.
But like, that's probably like the number one networking thing I can say. I mean, networking with streamers is really good, but it's a lot of it's networking inside the communities of the streamers. I mean, there's a way to go about doing it, not be like, yo man, I stream over here, you want to go check me out? Like, you would never do something like that, but you just want to talk to them, like, just get to know them.
Yeah, exactly. So you started out with Dead by Daylight when it was just released, but how about if the game was on and you started streaming right now? Would you stick to Dead by Daylight right now?
Nope.
Oh,
No.
right. What?
I mean, the game's already 5 years old. I mean, excuse me. I know they have a 10-year cycle on it is what they really want. So you're looking at another 5 years, but it's like any other directory. It's extremely saturated. I like, honestly, man, I couldn't even imagine starting to stream today. I wouldn't even know what game to start with or what to even do, because everything has a million people in it, you know. It would be difficult, in my opinion. Like 6 years ago, I thought it was saturated. But like now, man, it's like, whew.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But could you imagine how saturated it would be, like the very first minute that you start streaming in it?
Oh, dude, it would be crazy. Like, I like, it would be an uphill battle. Like, starting now is, I thought I had an uphill battle when I started, you know, but whew, if you started now, you know, like, that's probably how I would do it. Like, even before I started streaming for like a year or so, I would just get to know streamers and their communities before I even start. Would be probably one way about going about doing it. But yeah, it would be extreme. Like, to me, I think it would be extremely difficult to start today, even on DVD. Like, but if you can get traction in DVD, it's a great game. Tons of people have gotten partnered in Dead by Daylight. I mean, a ton. Especially like even recently, like, you know. But the category, you know, even if you went back a couple years ago, like the amount of streams that were over 100 viewers a couple years ago, to me, wasn't that many. Now, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, but
You
back
know,
then you didn't know, right? You didn't
No.
know that this game was gonna be that saturated.
No, I had no idea. Well, as time has gone on and they've added more platforms to play the game on and more DLCs and changed a bunch of things, it's becoming more and more popular. And as it got more and more popular, more and more people are streaming it, you know, and you know, hence the lots of people in there. So the competition, I'm gonna say it's fierce, but it's a lot. Like, even at my level, I find it really hard to grow inside that category.
Yeah, I can totally get it. Have you ever been scared of changing the game category of yours and sticking to another game like day one and say, hey, I'm quitting Dead by Daylight right now and I'm starting playing, let's say, not Apex Legends.
League of Legends?
League of
Legends.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that yet. Like, if a new game came out that I really, really liked, and if it was like a Dead by Daylight for me all over again, 100%, like, I would be going tomorrow. And I would play that game. You know, I would probably hit it hard to begin with, but I don't, like, from this point forward, I never want to back myself into the corner of just being this one guy who streams this one game.
Yeah.
You know, like I hate that. And then that's kind of what I'm trying to change. Like, I've learned my lesson. And it's been an awesome ride, but I want to experience new games and everything, but I don't want to go so hard in them that when I change to something else, you know, it pretty much just seems like you're starting all over again, you know, over and over, which with every game. And I've always said, like, every Twitch like Twitch partners business plan is the next game. It seems like that is the total business plan. When the next game comes along, but the horror DVD genre, like that game's the grand slam. Like there's nothing that's gonna come along to replace it. So it's kind of like waiting for the next game, even if it was a whole different genre. And even if I think a lot of it would depend on how many people would come over and watch me, like, and how many people are actually watching the game, if it's doing well. Because at that point it's about positioning. Like you have to position yourself for hopefully the ride up. And then but yeah, I would definitely jump on another train if it came along.
Oh, right.
It would be exciting, man. I'm like, I remember when DVD first came out. It was great. It was like a whole fresh breath air.
Yeah.
I think we're all ready for that.
But there are also many other games that look like Dead by Daylight, and they probably want to be like Dead by Daylight, but
they've all fall flat on their face, every last one of them. It almost to the point where after the Friday the 13th came out, that was, to me, it was a terrible game. I hated it. Like the mechanics of the game, I hated it. There was a couple other ones too. That's probably the best one that did anything for about a month. Even like when new ones come out, I rarely even try them. I'm just like, I can just look at them and tell them like, yep, that's not gonna do it.
And you don't try them at all?
No, like I remember like last year, never installed it on my computer. I played it at PAX for like 10 minutes, and I knew at PAX, it was like, yeah, this is not going to be great.
Yeah.
Like hide or die or something. Yeah, I played like the very first alpha. It was terrible, and I never installed the rest of it. Like the Predator game that came out recently, even though it's like a shooter Predator game, looked really, really cool. And it's the same concept of Dead by Daylight, where it was like asymmetrical. Never installed that either. Played the beta, but I never installed the game. Like I'm pretty good at knowing, if it's going to be good or not,
Yeah. That's good that you can tell. So what would you say that it was your main struggle as a streamer throughout all of these years on Twitch?
I think like the main struggle, like a lot of streamers have, is like you beat yourself up over all the things you have no control over. Like in this kind of like working environment, there is so many things that you have no control over. You don't really have control over who's watching you, how, like, or people going to subscribe or anything like that, or like there's very few things that you get to control, and there's so much of, I would say like maybe like 25% of your stream you can control, right? 75% of it are just outside factors that you really have no control over whatsoever. It kind of like the stars have to kind of align, or things have to happen. You can help yourself in like that 75%, but in a lot, like you end up, a lot of streamers end up comparing themselves with other streamers, which that's just a huge mental fucking anyway. Like you will beat yourself up over that, and you'll beat yourself up over numbers. The mental part of streaming is like stressful as hell. Like streaming in itself is awesome. I love it. Like the time you're live, that's the best part of streaming. It's all the other crap that's outside of it. The business side, as I call it, is like, it's very, it takes a long time to learn.
Yeah.
There's so much out of your control, and then you just have to like accept that and work with the parameters that you have,
And when you first came into Twitch and everything, I bet that you didn't know all of these things from the first place, right? And learning.
I had no idea. Like I don't think most people do. They just start,
Yeah.
It's a hobby. And I think most people probably never worry about it until the point, like, you start building your stream up a little bit. You start getting a couple people in there, and they come back every day, or you see them once or twice a week. And, you get to know them by their Twitch names and whether they joined Discord, and you start, conversing with these people inside and outside of the of the stream, and you grow up to like 10. Once you start getting like 20 or 30, like every stream, you start thinking like, man, I might have something here,
Yeah.
And that's the point where all the other shit starts coming in. Especially like at that point, you're starting to think, I'll tell you what, man, I think I can get the partnership. And right there is when it all the numbers and stuff start getting to you.
Yeah, and all the anxiety and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I think all the streamers pretty much go through that at one point or another, especially as they're growing.
That's true, all right. So, if somebody asks you if it's actually worth to quit their job in order to become a full-time streamer, what would your answer be? Because I know you've done this.
Yeah, like absolutely not. Like only like you'd have to grow your stream a lot. Like I mean, if you have a lot, like it took me, let's see, I started in November 2014. I went full-time live April the 5th of 2019. So it's almost 2 years. So I had 4.5 years into my stream before I knew it was at the point where it was like, and everything in my personal life was lining up to like, if I was going to do this and try this route, now's the time to do it. Like if you're going to take the jump, like my sister was like, you just need to jump. Like if you think that you're all right, ready to go now, she's like, and everything you think you'll be okay, at least for a while, you need to try this out. And she was a big push for me to like go full-time, like to kind of nudge me off of that cliff, because leaving full-time union employment, constant 40 hours, paycheck every Friday, insurance and all that, to go from that to the uncertainty of the streaming world was weird. It was definitely it was do or die. So but I was at a point in my life was like I was like 42. I was like, I knew that I would hate myself if I never tried it. And I was like, I would look back and I would always probably ask, what would have happened,
Yeah.
I can always get another job. Like I'm skilled in like all kinds of like electrical, plumbing and HVAC. I can do all that kind of stuff. So getting a job's not a big deal, but I never wanted to look back when I'm older and be like, man, what if I just done that and tried it? So now here I am doing it and trying it.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily it's worked out so far.
Yeah, and we're glad you did.
Yeah.
And
It's
what do
been
you
a blast.
think it's this point to know when? Because so many people are saying that, yes, I'm ready, I'm excited, I have like 30 people in my stream, I'm ready to quit my job, let's do this.
Dude, it's like, honestly, it's all a financial, like to me, the biggest thing was the financial part of it.
Yeah.
Like I figured out exactly what I need to make X amount of dollars per month in order to just maintain my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I always need to make this much, if I want to go full time. And I was already making that and plenty more when I was just doing this part time. Well, I was still pretty much full time, but it was part time. I still had a job. But yeah, it was all a financial thing for me. Like if I could maintain, and I knew if I stayed, 4 days, like even now, like that's why I play DVD 4 days a week, because I pretty much know like that's where my income comes from, is the 4 days a week I play Dead by Daylight. The other 2 days, yeah, people come and go, but it's not like, it would not be nowhere near as impactful as Dead by Daylight would be for 4 days a week. But to me, it's a big financial thing. Like I see people that are full-time streamers that like, have 30, 40, 50 concurrents. I'm like, I don't know, like, unless there's a lot of money. Like I also wanted this. I never wanted to have my stream to be held up by a small group of people that like threw a bunch of financial support my way. I always wanted to have a really big base of everybody basically paying the $4.99 for a subscription or whatever, because that's more consistent in the long term, because you don't know, people, I've seen people come and go when it comes to like big contributors and supporters and things like that, and their positions change, or they get tired of spending a bunch of money on a stream or whatever the case may be. So that part, if you're like leaning on that more than you're leaning on a large base of people, I can say it would be very dangerous to go full time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And plus, you know, I'm 40, like I'm in my mid 40s, so you know, I've been around the block or two when it comes to like work and financial stuff. So I knew I have a really good head on my shoulder when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, I can totally understand this.
Yeah.
And talking about age, was that ever a burden or something? Like, because you said it yourself, Twitch is all about teenagers, not all about, but you know, has a lot of teenagers and everything. Was that kind of hard to blend into this community and network with younger streamers and stuff?
Well, absolutely. Like,
Right.
I think so. There's only a few people over 40 probably in Dead by Daylight. Most of them are younger. Plus, like, I'm really rough. I got this long beard. I'm a redneck. You know, there's a lot of things that have made me to where I am today have probably also impacted me negatively. Not because, you know, that's just the way I am. It's kind of how demographics work. You know, if you look good and if you're pretty and all that, people are probably more likely to click on your thumbnail and stuff like that. You know, I just knew I was going to have to sell people over. Like, I was just going to be myself anyway. This is how I usually am. I cuss a lot. But I knew I was funny. Like the comedy, like that's what I knew I had to hang my hat on. Like, I knew I was funny. I've always been the class clown my entire life. So I knew it, like I had a little bit of comedy and stuff going into, you know, Minecraft and all these other games, but like Dead by Daylight is where it all came together, where I started adding the bits, and then I came up with the little genie things that I have, and it's all kind of just, you know, rolled on from that point. And I have no idea if I answered your question.
You did actually.
Excellent.
And I gotta tell you that your stream is like one of the most entertaining streams I've ever seen, especially on Dead by Daylight, but also in general. I mean, it's awesome. And I gotta tell you about this pretty thing on Twitch, the pretty people and stuff like that. I hardly click on, you know, the classic beauties on Twitch. I click on different people, you know, diversity and everything. A character, when I see a character or a persona, I'd like to click on that a lot more than a beautiful person, you know.
Oh yeah. We're probably not the norm though. Because I even click on streams that don't have webcams, and you know, I like, the longer I've been at Twitch, the less I've actually looked around for new streams. You kind of just get into your follower list and your favorite ones at particular times and games. Like, you want to watch a particular game a day or whatever. Like, the only time, like one of the biggest times I go around and look for new streams is when I'm interested in another game. Like lately, in the last 3 to 4 months, I've been nothing but Apex Legends streams normally. So I'm starting to go in there, finding the smaller streamers and see what they're doing. But you know, it's like, you know, that game is a lot different because you don't have people in there doing what I do, like being funny and comic and adding things to it. You have a little bit of that, but it's mostly just sweaty esports guys and girls.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's all the big stuff. There's not a lot of older dudes like me. I will never be able to compete on a level like that ever. It doesn't matter what game I'm in. I'm just, my hand-eye coordination. I could when I was 20, maybe 16, but yeah, no, I'm 44. But yeah, it's been the demographics part of it. Yeah, I beat myself up about it, but that's one thing I've actually beat myself up about. But there's nothing you can do about that. You know, there's like, you just have to work with it, and you know, you just find your strengths and stick with them. And luckily, I have this ability to like play a game and make it fun and entertaining. It pretty much doesn't matter what game I play. I think I make it fun and entertaining. Like one of the biggest things people love to watch me, they love to watch a brand new game like I've never played before, because my learning curve, my learning curve is terrible. Like learning the buttons and all that and the controls, dude, I'm pressing wrong buttons. I'm getting pissed off, and things aren't going. They love the struggle and the rage of that. I mean, they love that shit. They can't get enough of that. So, and then after a while, but in my stream, there's things called I have a guy from Slovakia who does all my computer programming, and then my artist is from Germany. So they've done like the slot machine I use for DVD, and then I have two little genies that live in my butthole. One's name I don't even know how that happened. It's just like the genie came around, and like for some reason one day I said he lived in my butthole. That's where he lives, right? And then he's got a brother now, or like a cousin or something, and his name is Chungtar. So there's Voltar and Chungtar, the two little genies that live in my butthole. Because butthole jokes are funny. They're just funny. Okay.
They are.
But they were all like, Chungtar is like a reward bot. So if I hit a certain amount of subscribers in a day, they get to do the Chungtar thing, and I get to eat a bean boozle or get some subs out or something dumb like that, just something fun to do, and like reward them to get into that level. And then it turns into a bonus round after that, where like we can eat like sour or hot pickles, zombie Skittles, and drink a LaCroix. It's all this nasty shit, but they love to watch me eat that stuff.
Exactly.
I don't mind eating it, but it's nasty when I got to do it, But it's kind of like it's incentive to hopefully push to get to those goals, and it's always like it's like giving back to give them something to watch, and something unique and special to do.
Because
the bots are interactive, where they're voting on which item I get to do and stuff like that. But now like those bots have been built. Like now that I'm playing Apex Legends so much, like we're gonna reskin the Voltar bot, so he's gonna look like he's in. Actually, I'll tell you a secret. There's like two ideas. Like one idea is just to reskin him to make him look like he's in like the Apex Legends world.
Wow.
The little crystal ball will have it'll just randomize which legend. So if I win a game, we'll play Voltar, and then he'll pick a legend like randomly, and we'll play like 2 games with that. And then I can go back to whatever I was playing. So like for every win, we would do like a Voltar spin, right? And if I'm playing with other people, I can also roll Voltar for them, and they can play along with us.
Oh my God.
And the other idea is Voltar would be a tarot card reader for Apex, and if the crystal ball will be gone, he would shuffle out like tarot cards and like read the fortune of the legend that would come up or something. That was the other one. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but
Whoa.
And those things are like what make my stream really unique, because I don't see anything like that anywhere at all.
Exactly. And I just love the fact that you're one of the people who are working hard and actually thinking how to level up their stream. Seriously.
All the time. Because like nowadays, unless you're really good or lucky, just sitting there playing a video game is probably not going to be enough.
Of course, they're all over the place.
Yeah, everyone does that.
Exactly. So I'm so glad that you shared your secret with us here exclusively.
Yeah, they're working on it right now. Like I'm not really sure. Like the tarot card thing is going to cost quite a bit of money, but the reskin the existing thing with just the crystal ball and the heads in there, get them all like cartoonerized, like make them all cartoony, like she does with the DVD characters, which I think that'll bring a very interesting spin to like Apex Legends. But the good thing is like that's why I've told myself like, from this point forward, like I got like the Vega Ross I do inside of Apex, I can do Officer Leathercock in Apex, like all the stuff that I come up with from now on, even to emote ideas. I never want to tie anything to a video game. I want it to be able to, like my little characters that I've made up, like in the little dress ups that I do, I want to make characters that I could probably do on any video game at all. So it make it entertaining no matter what game I play. I can play as those characters and make it a thing in all the games I play. And
exactly.
And like going forward, like I've been doing that for I don't know, maybe like a year. I want to make sure I got a new one come. Like I haven't done it yet, but like a lot of streams are like, oh, we're like the Dead by Daylight educational stream, right? I hate them streams.
Yeah.
Like teaching people, they teach people like the current time, with whether most of the time it's terrible. So they're teaching people how to play the game at the worst player level possible, right? Instead of like really enjoying the game, they're just really focused on like, how can you get 4 kills every single time you play the game? No one ever escapes. You know, let's slow it down, make it miserable for everybody, including yourself at the end of the day. And I hate that shit.
Yeah.
So like this is my wig for him. It's like a colonial like wig. Yeah, and then I'm gonna put my glasses down like this.
Oh my God! Yay.
Yeah, and his name will be Professor Know-It-All. And then we're gonna play like some Beethoven dubstep in the background, like real lightly, and then I'm just gonna like narrate me playing the video game as if I were a meme educational streamer.
Whoa!
But he'll be able to do that in any video game. Like I can bring out Professor Know-It-All in every single game you play, because you can just, you can adapt it to every single game. It's no problem. It's not like DVD specific.
Exactly. That's the basis of its appeal. And how do you do all that? You said that you were working with a designer and a programmer, or like you're doing this all by yourself.
Oh, that's all by myself. Like the bots, like the actual genie bots that play on the stream, that's all, man, that's way above my pay grade. I'm usually like the idea guy, and I go with them, the idea, and then he puts it all together, she does the artwork, boom, and it's done. And he usually does above and beyond whatever I ask, because he'll add like animations and cool stuff. Like every time Chung Tar is up, if you use the Chung Tar emote, fireworks go off for every single person doing it. And the Voltar has a spark on his little symbol. Head. Yeah. So we made them interactive so they can, because I'm like, sometimes when the Chung Tar is over, I'm like, you can't break me, you can't break the Chung Tar, and they would like flag so many emotes that the whole thing just slows right down to it lags right out. I'm like, you can't break me. And, they love that.
Every time I watch all of that, I'm like, what sorcery is that? How is he doing all of that? I mean,
it's all a bot.
Whoa.
And then like, you ever seen the mouth move?
Yeah.
When it talks? That's just me hitting the M2 button as I talk.
What?
Yeah, that's people always thought it's automated. No, that's me actually hitting the button, and it like moves the mouth every time I click it.
Oh my God. And when you came up with this idea, you just said that I just want to do the perk royale and stuff like that, or did it came up step by step? And
well, like people like when like the first thing I ever did was perk royale. Like right before I got partners, this is all leading up to my Twitch partnership, right? I just had the idea. I was like, well, people have like these wheels. You can go Streamlab, get those spin wheels.
Yeah.
I was like, this. Yeah, like I didn't want to do that. Everyone was doing that. Not everyone, but the people that were doing like perk roulettes or whatever.
Yeah, it's the easiest.
Yeah, it was all set up. I was like, I want to be like unique and different. Like I want to show people they've never seen it before. And then I came up with the idea of the slot machine. And then the very first version was just Survivor, I think. And it was only the white. It would only roll the perks. And as I opened up more things, I did a killer version. I did a killer version of it. And then now the one that it like does either or. It just 50% on the coin flip. Then it just finds out the rest of it. It was just an idea I had. I was like, I wonder if I can make this happen. And then like I hooked up with a guy in my stream was like, I can probably build something like that. I was like, okay, go for it. And then he built it. And then I started like a lot of things happened right around that same time. The Perk Royale came out like late November or early November of 2014. I had a bunch of other like random skits I would do, like little commercial breaks kind of that I would do. That was fun. And I had a partner like host me a little bit starting right around that time. Friday the 13th came out at Christmas, and a lot of people moved over to that, but I was already starting to like really pop off. I had a Reddit post about me that was really, really nice. And then in January, I got partnered.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I try to add something new to the bot like every year. Like the tarot card thing would be really cool because no one's ever seen that. It's a whole new idea. And plus, you could change it to any game, just retheme it, just different background, different clothing on the bot, and just make new cards. Or same thing with the all the other stuff, just swap it all around.
That's very, very, very cool. And leveling up all of that.
Oh yeah. It's been expensive, but if you save up for it, I think it's definitely been worth the money.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But first, you gotta think about all of that and not sitting your butt like on the chair and just streaming.
Oh yeah, I think about stuff like that less now because when I worked, I was a repairman, so I basically drove from job site to job site to job site. I had a ton of time to just to drive around. So I would think about it like all the time because I was just like, what can I do to like get to like the like one up myself on the stream? It's not really about competing with anyone. It's more like, what other kind of stuff can I do that no one else has seen, you know, or like what other ideas can I do that will make me different and stand out? Because I can guarantee you, like I tell this to the stream all the time, and I like there's not one stream, like two streams out there that are the same. There's a lot of similarities in streams, but I can guarantee you've never seen anything like mine.
Yeah, that's 100%.
That's what I've always said.
Yeah. And during your streams, where most of the times I'm always there. And by the way, guys, if you
Thank you.
haven't followed Vinc3ntvega, you will find his link on the description right down below. So during your streams, you often point out, righty.
Vinc3ntvega.
You often point out that it is very important to also have a YouTube channel. So why do you think that's important?
Well, you know, the strangest thing happened in Dead by Daylight is probably like around 2 years ago. It was strictly the DVD directory was pretty much just all DVD streamers, right? And about a couple years ago, the big YouTubers started to decide they wanted to live stream. So they moved over. Man, the instant they moved over, they were above everybody else in the directory. Or they come over with hundreds of people to start just because they have created a community on YouTube. And from my opinion, from what I talked to other people, the YouTube crowd translates better to Twitch than the Twitch crowd translates to YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, people at Twitch really want the live streaming and the whole, you know, Twitch culture experience. And YouTube is a whole nother animal. It's like completely different. But like starting a YouTube, I think it's even harder to get anywhere on YouTube than it is Twitch.
Yeah.
Like Twitch, you just turn on and you stream for like 6, you know, for how many hours you want. You know, but YouTube, you have to record, you have to edit it all down, depending on what you want to do with it. Like even the editing and adding stuff to that, that's a whole skill level. And like, you have to find your niche and it is a nightmare. Like it's like a nightmare, but like looking back now, if I had to start again, I would definitely try to start a YouTube channel before I started live streaming, because in about, like, I would honestly say 2 years, if you did that for a couple years and grew a YouTube base, then you're like, you know what? Well, I definitely want to start live streaming. And then you move over to live streaming, you will be so far ahead of the game. It's not even funny. Not that you'll also have a YouTube, which is going to grow at the same time, and a whole nother income revenue source. You know, like for me, it costs me a ton of money just to do the YouTube stuff, because I've hired a YouTube guy to do everything, and it's like it's a big expense per month, but like long term, in a year or two, I'm hopefully gonna turn the corner and build my YouTube channel up where it's good.
Yeah.
You know, and then like, because here's the deal, I know my content's good. Like there's no question about it. Like the videos are awesome. I provide good content for them. Like I know like it's going to be money, but the problem is getting the exposure and people to see it is like, you know, you could spend $1,000 a video if you want. It doesn't mean anything, you know, if no one's watching it.
Yeah.
And to get the people, like the real struggle is figuring out how to get them to find your stuff, which oh, don't get me started about the exposure talk. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
God damn. It's crazy, man.
And that is crazy. And also, I think that YouTube has a lot of better searchability than Twitch.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Twitch has almost zero.
Yeah.
And like YouTube is a lot of discoverability. Like I'm like, honestly, like for like income revenues, it's one reason like the DCMA stuff hit. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop doing my VODs on Twitch, just because I was worried, and still am, that you never know what's going to come up. And like the way Twitch handles a lot of situations just seems to be so, hit and miss. Like there's no clean cut way of how they determine how they're going to ban you, how long they're going to do it for, why you even got banned in the first place.
Yeah.
So I cut all that off, clipping in the whole 9 yards, and moved it over to YouTube. And now, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which I might hit it this weekend. And then once it hits to 1,000, you can start adding commercials to it. And that way people watching the VODs will watch it on YouTube with some commercials, or probably ad block. I don't care. But that's a whole nother income source that's outside of Twitch. But I did all the stuff on Twitch. It's a little work on my end, but not a whole lot. But that was another reason. Like once I did it, I was like, you know what? This is actually smart. Like I see why other streamers do this now. Like why wouldn't you like monetize that? People like you have a 6-hour video and the average watch time's over an hour. Well, that's from what my statistics say, and that's a lot of watch time for a 6-hour video.
Yeah, that's for sure. So that you saw results out of that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And people like even now, like they're just VODs. It's all that channel is VODs, and it's almost at 1,000 subscribers. And usually, like the DVD ones get 300 to 400 views, and like Apex Legends maybe like 100 to 200. So, the normal people that are watching the VODs on Twitch are over there watching it, but it's all on YouTube. It's all discoverable. It's all tagged, and people can find you over there also. So
That's great. That's awesome. So I want to thank you so much. There have been so many things that we've learned from you today. And I have to tell you, I expected to learn from you a lot, but not that much. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm glad I could help. Like, it's a struggle. Like, it's been, there is no guide on, they got these stream coaches and all that about streaming, but like, and I still watch all that. Like I'm always watching that stuff to see like the next thing is, or how the stream meta is, changing or whatever. But, there is most of this stuff is what you learn from other people, and you just go with the punches and Google it online, Yeah. And it's not like a job where they hire you. You have to do X, Y, and Z. This is completely different.
Yeah, that's for sure. So thank you again so much, and you'll find Vinc3ntvega, all of the links, YouTube and Twitch, on the description right down below. And thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a blast. I'm glad you asked me, and you broke my podcast cherry.
I'm glad about it. I'm super glad about it.
Yep. For like 6.5 years, I've never done one, and here we go.
Oh my goodness! Oh my God, that's exclusivity, I would say.
Yeah, I'll be happy. I always help people out. Like I get questions all the time, so like if people watch this and they get a little something from it, then awesome.
We took a lot out of you today. We squeezed you.
Sucked me dry. I'm out of fluids and everything. Every single fluid. We don't have to say which ones they are. But yeah, it's been awesome. I appreciate you having me on here. Thank you. Tip number 1, I think the most important part of streaming is while you're streaming is to always talk. And the hardest part for new streamers, I think, is starting your stream with no one in there. And how do you talk to yourself? Basically, I just learned to talk about what I was doing in the game, and you have to be always constant of chat, because if someone comes into your stream and says hi, like you literally have 30 seconds to respond. If you don't respond, they're gone. Like the chances of anyone staying in your stream, if it's just gaming, unless you're like an esports professional and you were just owning and dominating right at that moment, people are more than likely not going to stay. Like you have to, I always found that like always talking was really, really good. And on the other side of that too, you have to take care of your voice. I never realized how hard streaming was going to be on my voice and my throat and stuff. So that like throat health and voice health is really important, man. I never knew how it was. Number 2, the actual networking and like using your social medias. I didn't use I never had a Twitter or anything before I started streaming. I actually didn't get one until maybe 6 months into it. but since Twitch has like clips and things like that, I've had really good success on platforms with clips. As long as you're tagging them properly and posting them on, like right now, the hot thing is like TikTok, right? So I just started that this week. I'm doing the TikTok. I've done the Instagram. I do the Twitter. I do, the next big thing now is YouTube Shorts. So my actual TikTok, because I edit my TikTok down differently than all the other stuff, but it can be used on YouTube Shorts. That's going to be the next big up and coming thing. So, one of the worst piece of advice I got was like, oh, you should never put the same exact content on all your platforms. Well, that's not the case, because I found that your audience on all those different platforms are different. Like you're trying to put your exposure out there, and it doesn't matter if it's the same exact clip. The people on Instagram are probably not the ones watching on Twitter, and the Twitter people are not the ones watching on YouTube, so on and so forth. And you're going to be bringing in all the new eyeballs from, those 4 particular platforms. So the whole thing is like, don't put the same media over all the other, throw that out the window. Put the same clip on all 4. Usually I do it all at the same time. Number 3, a lot of people with like stress and anxiety, I've always said it's going to be really difficult if you suffer from like stress, anxiety and stuff like that to stream, because I think it amplifies that stuff. Not while you're streaming. While you're streaming, you're usually really good to go. It's all the stuff in like the numbers game, or talking to people within your community and keeping all that stuff active and things like that. Like streaming is a humongous mental fuck. Like real talk. You see that on your Twitter feeds all the time about like mental health of streamers and stuff like that. That's no lie. Like that's probably one of the biggest hurdles and one of the biggest struggles you'll have the entire time you stream, because like, how do you know how well your stream is doing besides like your numbers or stuff? Or like, because the people who watch you are going to be biased towards you, right? So they're what they say to you about your stream, oh, you're awesome, you're great and all that stuff. But there's not like, there's no report card anywhere, like how well you're doing or how you think things are going. And it's like, it's a nonstop mental fucking. So like be easy on yourself mentally. Like try not to get stuck into the mental traps of really worrying about your numbers or your subscriber count, your follower goals and all that crap. Like all that stuff is a lot of like not needed additional stress while you're trying to stream or whatever, because streaming is extremely stressful on that end of it. So like I had no idea. Like I was clueless in that department when I started. Like I was like, oh, streaming, it shouldn't be like that. And then once you start it in a year or 2 goes by, and you're like, wow, this is like, man, I see what people talk about now, So like mental health is really important.
In this episode, we talked a lot about how sticking to a main game can help you grow your channel easily. But the point is that sometimes it's kind of demanding, it's kind of limiting yourself from playing whatever you want to play. And the question is, would you rather stick to a game as a main game and grow your channel with that? Or would you rather play the games that you want to play and you want to enjoy at any point, no matter what? Leave your thoughts in the comment. And if you like today's discussion, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. See you on the next episode of Behind the Streams with another content creator who's going to share his journey with us.